Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It is Michael Fletcher, and welcome to a very special Saturday night edition of the Wrestling Forum, the Cerebral Smack Talk, live on YouTube and StreamYard.com. It is, as I said, Michael Fletcher alongside Anthony Florio. We are awaiting our good friend Michael Bullock. If he comes in, great. If he doesn't, then we'll just have to wait and see. So we started off the show with Jimmy Uso coming out, cutting a promo, and oh my goodness, what a promo! What a powerful statement he makes. Open fires on Roman Reigns, saying that okay, we got screwed in the first fight, and that's fine. We did go and ask for a rematch for the tag team titles, and then in the second fight, you stuck your nose where it didn't belong. You absolutely came out and you screwed us over on the second match. You were saying that, oh, I did you a favor. You didn't do us nothing. Why? Are you jealous? Are you jealous that we were going to become tag team champions? Are you jealous? For a whole year, you've been holding down my brother. You've been making him a yes man and this and that and blah, 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 blah. And, that's my flesh and blood. That's my brother we're talking about. So who the heck are you, Roman Reigns? You've been doing this to our family for years. Whoa. You want to talk about opening a Pandora's box, man. This was good. I loved it. I love the fire and the intensity from Jey Uso. Definitely set it up for what was undoubtedly was going to be an interesting evening, to say the very least. So, Anthony Florio, it's all yours, man. Jey Uso came out with some fire, man, and the bloodline, definitely, the lines were drawn on this one.
MF, this was everything you want the opening segment of a show to be. A short, sweet recap of the previous week's show, the top star on the brand featured prominently, and a cliffhanger to convince the fans to stay tuned in. Roman Reigns was excellent here, but then again, is he anything less than that nowadays? Blaming Jey for his brother's actions, despite the fact that it was the tribal chief who interjected himself into the main event of last week's show. Jimmy called him out on it, set the stage for some significant happenings later, and left Jey with a choice to make by the end of the night. Continued to support Reigns or back his twin brother. Great stuff, which is par for the course with this storyline. Segment of the night, there is no absolute doubt about it. So MF, let's set up the next moment here, and I will start it off.
Well, it was actually a tag team match, as it was Sami Zayn and Apollo Crews going up against Kevin Owens and Big E. Kevin Owens and Big E getting the job done, winning the match in 12 minutes and 50 seconds. And Anthony, not only did we get a good match out of that, but oh boy, do we have ourselves a hell of a tag team match next week.
You can make an argument for this to be the fight of the night, 3.25 to 3.5 stars. You can gather by the performers in the match that it was a fun, energetic bout that showcased all expertly before Kevin Owens continued to build momentum as Apollo Crews' top contender with a pinfall victory over Sami Zayn. While the idea of another tag team match next week may not be overly appealing to fans tired of the treadmill booking that has engulfed the Smackdown midcard, it will be worth it. It will be worth it if Commander Aziz, a.k.a. Dabba-Kato, has the opportunity to shine. After all, fresh blood is always welcome in the sometimes repetitive, always sanitized world of WWE. Whether the creative team can resist spotlighting him at the expense of Owens, Big E, and Crews is the real question. So there isn't much more to say on this. 3.25 to 3.5 stars. A fight of the night contender for sure. You can probably make an argument that this was the fight of the night. So not much more to say. MF, next week, Dabba-Kato. Let's see what you got, big boy.
Yeah, no, without a doubt. Solid opener, great matchup. And yeah, like you said, fight of the night, leveled stuff. And I have to say, SmackDown was really cooking, but unfortunately, this is where it starts to hit the mud. We had Carmella versus Liv Morgan. Liv Morgan wins the match in 3 minutes. All right. I mean, look, good win. Liv needed this. Liv needed a victory so bad. It would have been a huge crime if she did not get this win. So obviously it looks like they're going to do a Liv Morgan Carmella story. I mean, can the women really produce? I don't know. I mean, I think the match last week was better than this one, Anthony. But like we said, Liv needed the win because what she's been going through for the last month or so, you want to talk about hard times for the baby girl. At least she got a good win. And I know there's a lot of Liv Morgan fans on the internet, especially on Twitter and that I've been watching. They were so happy she finally got a victory here. And they're hoping and praying that this could be signs of things to come. Because remember, about a year ago, Liv had a good storyline going of reinventing herself. And it never transpired. And then that's when she went back with Ruby and reformed the Riot Squad.
And now the Riot Squad is no more because Ruby Riot
was let go.
What was that?
I said because Ruby got let go.
As part of those insane releases that we saw a few weeks ago. And of course, all the major companies will be after all those talents. You better believe it. So, but the story for another day. Imagine how much this would have meant for Liv Morgan if the focus didn't immediately go right back to Carmella after the bell. There will be some that point to this optimistically as the start for something special for Liv Morgan. As hard as she has worked and as much as it would be embraced by fans, this feels more like it's all about Carmella. WWE Creative could have cycled anyone into Morgan's position, and it would have had the same effect, putting over the heel's new persona. Otherwise, this was the same 50-50 booking that has and will continue to prevent anyone from ever truly getting over. I could probably only give this about 1 to 1.5 stars for the effort. So I don't know what else there is to say except who knows? Who knows how much longer this feud's going to go on? I assume we'll probably get a rubber match of some sort. I'm sure.
Yeah,
because repetitive booking. I mean, I'm sorry to say it, MF, but SmackDown has started to fall into that Raw trap. And we all know how notorious Monday Night Raw has been for repetitive booking for her.
Yeah, but you have to understand this. Look at the roster that SmackDown has right now.
Very true.
I mean, that's the biggest out that SmackDown has. The roster is depleted. Like, these cuts did not help SmackDown. Like, we got slaughtered with these cuts. So obviously, I mean, I hate to say it, but SmackDown has no choice but to do this repetitive booking because we hardly got anybody on the roster left. I mean, I'm sorry, Anthony. Until this supposed draft is supposed to happen after SummerSlam, right now, huh?
August 30th. It'll start Monday night on August 30th for Raw, and it will conclude on SmackDown Friday, September 3rd. Those are the tentative dates.
Yeah. So until then. Right now, SmackDown has a big problem. We got a gaping hole right now that's the size of the state of Texas with our talent. Yeah, where Raw could fill, you guys can fill the gap. If it was a 2-hour show, you have a roster to fill the gap. Absolutely. Where SmackDown, I sent you a thing that has the official roster of SmackDown left. You saw the names. You saw the tag teams.
Yes, I mean,
it's depleted. I mean, we got maybe a third of what Raw has right now. So obviously, SmackDown has no choice but to do what they're doing. Yeah. Unfortunately.
Yeah, you're right.
So anyway, next up we had was this was the Ding Dong Hello by Bayley that had Seth Rollins. And, well, let's just say that they were having a lot of fun. They were enjoying themselves, poking fun at Bianca Belair, poking fun at Cesaro, threw a bunch of vignettes and everything else. But then the party was over when the Swiss Superman basically ding-donged Seth Rollins and beat him down. And then Bianca Belair came out only to laugh basically laugh in the face. Well, not in the face, but laugh from a distance, social distance at Bayley, who is in the ring. Anthony, you can tell. All right, as far as the segment goes, it was all over the place and horrible. But the fun really began when Cesaro showed up.
Yeah, and that saved it. All of the obnoxious laughter was worth it for the awesome reveal of Cesaro at the set door. WWE's production team set up the doorbell gimmick perfectly so that when it sounded midway through the segment, you knew something was up. Cesaro looked like an absolute star as he exploded through the set and whooped Rollins, continuing what has been a banner year. The eventual blowout to this feud is going to be great and do wonders for the Swiss Superman. Kudos to Rollins for being selfless enough to make Cesaro look as great as he has. Bianca Belair laughing at Bayley's ruined set and failed talk show was a nice flip-flop, even if their feud doesn't feel nearly as hot as it should be heading into Hell in a Cell. But, that's really all there is to say on that. Yeah, up until Cesaro being there, the segment was crap, if I'm going to be honest with you. I could go as far as to call it cheap garbage. But the minute Cesaro showed up, MF, that made it worth it more than anything else. Move on. I'm good.
All right. Okay. So, all right. So, with that said, we move on right now, and the next thing that we had was the Street Profits. Well, it was Montez Ford versus Chad Gable. Montez Ford wins the match in 10 minutes and 5 seconds via disqualification. Anthony Florio, I give this to you. Solid match, but horrible ending.
It was on its way to being the fight of the night, honestly. But then what happened. Solid 3 stars, second best fight of the night. Montez Ford is going to make WWE a stupid amount of money someday. Chad Gable already should be. The match that preceded the finish was surprisingly competitive and showcased the underrated abilities of both men. The post-match beatdown by a newly clean-shaved Otis was superb and really put the former fun-loving big man over as a destructive force. The shaved face, intensity, and the punishment dealt by the powerlifter left an impression and instantly set Alpha Academy up as genuine threats in the Smackdown tag team division until Vince McMahon inexplicably calls for them to be squashed by the Street Profits in 3 weeks. But, it is what it is. But a solid 3 stars for the effort. It could have been the fight of the night if not for the finish. But the one thing that, that stood out for me the most was MF, Otis, clean shaved. No more big old beard. Unbelievable.
I mean, I know. I was a little shocked when I saw that too. I was like, Otis? What in the world? But if it helps to his heel gimmick, hey, let it be, man. So yeah, that was pretty cool. I liked it. I enjoyed it. I thought that was not bad. At the end of the day, there's really nothing more to add. So, all right. So next up, what we had after that was we had Nakamura versus Corbin. Nakamura wins the match in a minute 50. We're not going to get into that. We don't need to talk about that. Then we get into the main event of the evening, which was Rey Mysterio. Well, you guys know Rey is still like, oh my God, was he hopping mad over what happened to Dominic last week, that he said he was going to call the tribal chief and Roman Reigns out. And sure enough, he called him out. Roman came out, and then Rey basically, he acknowledged him but in a very negative light, and then challenged him to a match, non-title, inside Hell in a Cell. Basically, Roman Reigns versus Rey Mysterio inside Hell in a Cell, not for the Universal title. That's very key. The Universal title is not on the line He is going for this for personal reasons. And quite frankly, Anthony, I actually like this. I like the fact that he made it personal, that this was not about a belt, this was not about a championship. He was doing this for family honor. This was about Dominic. This was about what you did to my son. And as a father, I am going to mess you up for this. Then we had a little bit of a brouhaha. A little fight broke out. And poor Dominic, oh my God. Roman, what have you done?
Well, MF, I have to correct you here. The Universal Championship will be on the line in this match.
Oh,
It is a
I
title
was,
match.
initially they told me no. Initially, when I heard it on SmackDown, I heard no mention of the Universal title on the line.
That's true, but as of it was announced earlier this morning on the Talking Smack. They made it official, and they even have the full preview on WWE.com, and Wikipedia is also listing it as a Universal Championship matchup. So this Hell in a Cell match with Roman Reigns and Rey Mysterio, MF, it is for the Universal Championship. So the title is on the line. So, anyways, as far as this is concerned, this was the other big segment of the night here. It only strengthens Reigns' stance as the head of the table when he can be without the Usos as his backup and still overcome a 2-on-1 attack by the Mysterios. While he did not officially accept Mysterio's challenge for Hell in a Cell, even though it's now official, he did flash an expression of amusement, almost laughing off the idea that the Hall of Fame worthy competitor would be a threat to him. The angle was strong, Reigns' dominance was emphatic, and the idea of a showdown between him and Mysterio is at least a hell of a lot more interesting than it was heading into the show. The real money, though, is in an eventual showdown between Reigns and the Usos. The amount of gaslighting going on between the Universal Champion and Jimmy Uso, in which Reigns blamed his cousin for the treatment of his brother when it has been the tribal chief manipulating the entire ordeal, was a phenomenal bit of storytelling. Eventually, the Usos are going to strike back against Reigns, and when they do, the fans in whichever arena WWE is in that night will erupt. There is no doubt about that whatsoever. So, and that'll be on July 16th. That's when the fans return to Smack. That's when the SmackDown fans will get the first shot. So, Houston, get ready. That's all there is to say there. Prior to Money in the Bank. So not much more to say here. This was the other big segment of the night here, along with that opener. So not much more to say here, MF. Let's get into overall thoughts, and I'll be more than happy to start things off here. So
Yeah, go ahead.
yeah. So it was a good show. It wasn't the best show, honestly, but it was still a solid SmackDown. They've been putting all these solid shows together lately, and which is not a surprise to say the least. And I think I had this between 6 and 7, I believe. I think it was more of a 6, really, because we had one great match. We had one that was on its way to being a great match, but then it ended up getting thrown away. And then we had a couple. We had 2 repetitive matches and one meh segment, even though Cesaro saved it. But anyways, 6 out of 10 for me. This was the Roman Reigns show as usual. As anything he did was great, and everything else was pretty hit or miss. The problem here is the rematches, as we had 2 matches we saw last week, which went about the same. It really does kind of feel like they're out of ideas to promote Hell in a Cell, and they're just filling time, which is not the best look. The show still has some matches to make for the pay-per-view, so next week should be covered, but this was not an overly thrilling or exciting show, to be honest. 6 out of 10 for me. MF, your thoughts?
Yeah, no, I agree with that. 6 out of 10. I think it was a good match. It was a good. Everything was pretty good with it. But as far as like how everything has gone through. Yeah, I'm totally in agreement with that, Anthony. So I really got nothing more to add on that one. So we're just gonna move right on along here. And now it is time for AEW Dynamite. That went down just last night, actually, from the Daily's Place in Jacksonville, Florida. And we do indeed start the night off with the first match of the evening. That was Christian Cage going one on one with an Atletico, with Matt Hardy and with Jack Evans. Christian Cage wins the match in 9 minutes and 8 seconds. Solid match. I mean, it was a good opener. Very good match. I could give this about 3 stars more than anything else. And I really got nothing else to say here. But I'll say this was really solid match. More of a paint by numbers is the best way to say it. Really nothing more to add. Anthony, it's yours.
Yeah. I definitely agree with that rating, MF. Solid 3-star match. Of course, you know Angelico very well, MF, from his he was in Lucha Underground, wasn't he? Yeah.
Yes, he was.
Yeah, I know Jack Evans was because he was a part of that Worldwide Underground, a la John Morrison and Taya Valkyrie and everything else. But
Atletico was part of a crew with Eva Lees, and he was also with I think it was PJ Black too.
Yeah, yes,
Yep.
sir. Anyways, a 3-star match, I agree. Angelico always leaves a lasting impression whenever he has the opportunity to perform on Dynamite. This was no different, to the point that Jim Ross suggested it was his finest performance in a long while. He shined in a match designed to further the feud between Christian Cage and Matt Hardy. The in-ring product was strong. The post-match, complete with Jungle Boy aiding Christian as their paths continue to cross post Double or Nothing, helped make this a strong opening match and segment. Props to Cage, too, for taking on matches with stars whose styles don't necessarily mesh with his and still managing to deliver fun, high-quality matches. Solid 3 stars. I agree with the rating. Next up, MF, and whatever it is, I'll lead off.
All right, it was a 6-man tag team fight as it was Penta El Cielo Miedo, Eddie Kingston and Pac going up against the Young Bucks and Brandon Cutler. And it was the face team of Pac, Eddie Kingston, and Penta El Cielo Miedo winning the match in 12 minutes and 55 seconds. Anthony, it's yours.
What was that time again?
12:55.
12:55.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. You can make an argument for this to be the fight of the night. This is a 3.5 to 3 3/4 of a star match. This was exactly what you would expect from a match with this crop of talent involved. It was action packed, told the story of Eddie Kingston and Pac overcoming their differences and put them over Brandon Cutler in a way that doesn't hurt the tag team champions. It would be nice for 1 week to go by where the Bucks don't get their heat back through some overbooked heel beatdown, also including the Good Brothers. But at least this one saw the inclusion of Frankie Kazarian, the Elite Hunter, to break up the monotony a bit. Even if the booking does lean a bit too much on those beatdowns, the matches have almost always been fun, above average affairs, so there's not much to complain about. Shout out to Penta El Zero Miedo, who consistently finds himself involved in some of the best matches and moments of any AEW presentation. I could call these easily fight of the night. 3.5 to 3 3/4 of a star, and Mep, it's yours.
3.5, totally agree with it. Like you said, everybody did amazing on that job, so I really got nothing more to add. So next up, guys, what we had here, the next thing that we had, we had a promo segment by the Pinnacle, interrupted by the Inner Circle. Obviously, solid segment more than anything else. They destroyed the limo. The limo got destroyed, and oh boy, did they do a number in on that limo. Especially Jake Hager with that forklift right through the lip. Oh my God, did you see that limo fold up like an accordion? Oh wait.
Yes, sir.
Oh yeah. I mean, Obviously that war is not over by a long shot. Anthony, you don't need to talk about it. We'll just move right on along. Next up we did have was Miro putting in the TNT title on the line against Evil Uno, along with all of the members of the inner of the Dark Order. Unfortunately, this was not the night for the Dark Order. Miro wins the match in 9 minutes and 36 seconds. Um, Game over with the submission. Look, it was a hell of a match. It was a good fight. I was really pulling for Evil Uno. There was a point in the match where once the Dark Order came out and you saw -1 there, I was like, you gotta get like, how good of a feel good moment it would it be if the Dark Order gets the belt back? That's their belt. The TNT title was the title that Mr. Brody Lee had before he passed away. Um, there's major significance with that belt. I really thought that they were going to do it. Unfortunately, Miro does win the match, which is, if you think about it, logical booking. Miro deserves the moment. He deserves to be the champion. He's worked his way up to the top. He should still be the champion. He should hold the belt for a while. But there's those type of moments, especially when they're fighting guys like from the Dark Order, that you kind of feel like, man, which one of these guys is going to get the moment? And I really thought Evil Uno had a moment. Like, there was a hope spot moment where you're thinking, oh my God, this could actually happen. But it didn't. But hell of a match. 3 stars. Anthony, it's yours.
Yeah, another 3-star effort. This was infinitely better than anyone could have imagined, thanks in large part to the emotional connection to the late Mr. Brody Lee. Evil Uno fed off the crowd and his Dark Order teammates, and the result was a dramatic encounter that had the audience buying into the idea that he might actually dethrone Miro. However, in great heel fashion, Miro shut down the threat to his title, not giving a damn about the motivation surrounding the bout. He was focused, retained his title, and is suddenly among the hottest stars in the business, and it's about damn time. Vinnie Mac and WWE, you blew it with this guy. That's all there is to say on that. You didn't have the balls to push this guy. You should have. Now AEW is going to make him the megastar he should have been a long damn time ago. Period. And a statement and a quotation. MF, go.
Yeah, honestly, okay, I'll give you that, Florio. But I will say this. At the very beginning, they were almost booking them like WWE. Now they realize what they got. But there was a time there for a little while, man, especially when you were Canadian
stuff
and all that stuff. Yeah, no, they were booking them almost as similar to WWE.
Yeah, you're right.
But now I agree with you. Okay. WWE has made a horrific mistake, but it took them a while to get there. That's the tragedy.
I'm even going to go as far as to say this. I don't know when, but I got a feeling light years down the road, I think within the next year or so, or whenever, next year or a couple of years or so, I believe in my heart of hearts, Miro will be an AEW World Heavyweight Champion.
I agree. So next up we had was there was a whole bunch of stuff. So we had another promo segment as it was Kenny Omega and Don Callis. They called out Jungle Boy, and it was kind of a one of those type of things. It is what it is. So they're just setting themselves up for next week's title match. Then we had Lance Archer versus Chandler Hopkins. Archer comes in. Basically, Chandler Hopkins, what were you thinking? You try to jump the Murder Hawk monster? Don't you know that everybody dies? Well, you died. You ended up paying the ultimate price. Get blacked out at the end. And yeah, it's basically Lance Archer pissed off, angrier than ever. Jake Roberts didn't really have to do anything. He just saw there, smiled, laughed. He just kind of applauded the damage and the wreckage that he just saw, and he rolled out like quick. So there's that. Then we had Nyla Rose versus legit Layla Hirsch. Nyla Rose won the match in 8 minutes and 45 seconds. I mean, give it up for Layla Hirsch, man. I mean, this one, the Russian beauty, man, she's got that MMA style, man, and she almost got Nyla. She caught her in an armbar a couple of times, but the power and the strength of the native beast, Nyla Rose, uh, destroys Layla Hirsch at the end, and great performance by Layla and Nyla. Man, she's going up the rankings, boys, and Dr. Britt Baker, you better be put on notice because, yeah, you got Thunder Rosa nipping at your heels, but all of a sudden, the native beast, Nyla Rose, is nipping at the heels as well. And I think she's number 2 on that ranking. There might have to be a match between Thunder Rosa and Nyla Rose for number one contendership. You have to think. Anthony, it's yours.
Yeah. This was a good, hard-hitting match that gave Nyla Rose a big win as she heads towards a showdown with the new women's champion, Dr. Britt Baker, DMD. It also spotlighted Hirsch, who has all the tools to be a major star for the women's division in the future, maybe a future women's champion within the next year or two, just like with Miro in the men's division. The post-match promo from Baker was great. It created doubt about Rose and emphasized her standing as the division's leader. There have been better women's matches, but this accomplished what it set out to, and this is what the rating reflects. I'll give this about 2.5 stars for the effort. Sleeper fight of the night for sure. I didn't really have much high hopes going into this, but this ended up being a surprisingly above average bout for me. So, yeah, 2.5 stars. And like I said recently, heel versus heel dynamic. I mean, I don't know how it's going to work, but I think based on how they're setting it up, I think they might be booking Dr. Britt as the face in this feud.
Yeah, we'll see. So now we got the main event of the evening. It was Brian Cage and Powerhouse Hobbs. They went up against Preston Vance, Dark Order number 10, and Adam Hangman Page. And when it was all said and done, Dark Order wins it in 11 minutes and 19 seconds. Anthony Florio, the main event. Florio?
Yeah, I'm right here.
Oh, all right. Okay.
It was frozen. It was frozen.
All right. I just didn't know what was going on.
Yeah. 3 to 3.25 stars. And with that, Team Taz is no more. At least not as we have known it. Brian Cage has been on his way out for months now. And this, coupled with the conclusion of the Double or Nothing match with Adam Page, should do it for the Machine's run with the faction. And that is not a bad thing. Cage versus Ricky Starks is a natural match. It could do wonders for both men, who have lost more than they have gained under Taz's guidance. What better way to accentuate that than by having Brian Cage go his own way and beat Ricky Starks? Hangman remains one of the most popular and enduring performers on the AEW roster, and I believe he's the obvious choice to eventually dethrone Kenny Omega as the World Heavyweight Champion. Hopefully that's coming sooner than later because he has earned it as one of the most consistent characters in AEW. And if they're smart on this, next pay-per-view, September 5th, All Out, Chicago, book that son of a gun. And if you do, hot switch it. That's all I can say. But MF, it doesn't matter when they do the match. I think Jungle Boy is going to give Omega a hell of a fight in a couple of weeks. I think he's going to give him the biggest threat since Moxley, honestly. But I think he's going to come just a little bit short, almost like what we saw with Orange Cassidy at Double or Nothing. I mean, I think it's going to be, I think there's going to be at least 2 or 3 hope spots, maybe one gigantically Shakespearean drama hope spot, but the champ will find a way to get past Jungle Boy. But I think, and I'm going to make this bold prediction right now, I think when we get to the All Out Labor Day weekend, I think that, and if it is Hangman Adam Page, I'm calling it new champ right there on that night. So, but we'll see. We'll see how they go about it. But it doesn't matter when the event goes down. They should save it for a pay-per-view. maybe the next one, and if that's the case, that's when you pull it off. MF, there's nothing more to say. If anybody's going to eventually dethrone and end the reign of terror of the Cleaner, I think it's only fitting that it's his former tag team title partner.
I agree. I totally agree with that. No doubt about it. We'll wait and see what happens. I'll probably give this about 3.5 stars. Main event, good match. Nothing more to say about that. So, guys, we're just gonna move right on along as we now go into the overall review. This was a solid show. This was at least, I want to say, 7.5 to 8 out of 10 for me. I thought there was a lot of great action on this one. Yeah, there was a couple of areas where it kind of was like it was better than others. So I mean, I'll give this a solid 8. So Anthony, it's yours.
I don't. Nah, I can't go that high, MF. I mean, I don't think it was that good of a show.
All right.
Uh, I'm leaning more towards 6.5 to 7. I think that's the correct rating for this. I think eight's a little bit of a reach. What I saw didn't really reflect an 8 rating, but this was a 6.5 to 7 for me. Let me see. It was, as I would always say. Well, here we go. It was another week where they somewhat kind of took the night off, but it wasn't as bad as last time. Then again, it was a tape show, so it's going to be a tape. It was a tape show last night. I think it's going to be a tape show again next Friday night. Yes, it's going to be another Friday show. But don't worry, we'll be back to normal soon enough. Don't you worry. We'll be normal. We'll be back to normal probably by the end of the month or early next month. We'll probably be back to normal. But anyways, it was another week where they kind of took the night off, but it was not as bad as the previous week. Right now, they're building towards the show in 2 weeks on June 26th with that huge world title match with Jungle Boy and Kenny Omega. Though I'm not sure what else is going to be seen as a big deal on that show. This was a completely watchable show with some good action as they got us to care about matches that weren't all that interesting in the first place, mainly the women's match. Nice job, though it is another somewhat skippable show, but not the worst. 6.5 to 7 from me. So we got one more order of business, MF, and that is tomorrow night. We're going to be going back in time somewhat.
Yeah, we're going to be going in your house, NXT style. NXT Takeover in your house is going to go down, and we got 5 matches on the fight card. So we lead it off with the lone match that does not have title implications, as it will be Mercedes Martinez going one-on-one with Xia Li. I got to think Mercedes Martinez is going to get the win here. They're going to want to make her strong. They're going to want to build her up again. Even though I know a lot of people are thinking Xia Li, especially with the way that she's got this new crew with Mi Yang and Boa. I mean, who knows how that plays out? But we're talking Mercedes Martinez, and you saw how good she was when she went up against Raquel Gonzalez. So I kind of feel like this is her moment. So I'm going to go with Mercedes Martinez to win the match. And Anthony, I give it to you.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I think it will. I think it will go the way of Mercedes Martinez here. This should be a good test for Xia Li. The NXT bookers have protected her well by accentuating her newfound aggression in short enhancement matches and angles, and thus far, Li's performances have been up to par. But the time has come to see if she can handle longer matches. Working with a decorated veteran like Mercedes Martinez will make that process easier. As an upper mid-card gatekeeper, Martinez is here to get Li and this Tian Sha gimmick over, so she will doubtlessly eat the fall here in a competitive bout. The intrigue, however, will rest with how Li looks en route to that win. So I stand corrected. I disagree, MF. I'm actually going with Xia Li to win this match. I think they want to get the Tian Sha stable over, and I think a win for Xia Li over a game Mercedes Martinez will be a great way to do just that. So Xia Li is my pick. So championship bouts the rest of the way. Let's go.
Yeah, so first off, we're going to start off with the NXT women's title. It is Raquel Gonzalez going one-on-one with Ember Moon. Anthony, who do you got?
Champion stays champion. It's a shame that the NXT creative team gave this match such a lifeless build, because these two could produce the best match of the night. Ember Moon and the dichotomy of Ember Moon and Raquel Gonzalez's respective in-ring styles. Moon relying on speed and technique, Gonzalez on power. Well, let me Jesse this for you. Moon is the quicker of the two. Gonzalez is the stronger of the two. So it already makes this a fascinating pairing. And that combined with each woman's penchant for laying in some heavy-looking strikes gives this one all the ingredients needed for a potential classic. Pondering over that is more exciting than the result, since we all know Gonzalez is picking up the win here. That's not a bad thing, logic-wise. WWE clearly has big plans for the current women's champion, and transferring some of Moon's equity as a well-positioned former champion over to Gonzalez is the right move. We'll likely see a spot where Dakota Kai attempts to interfere on Gonzalez's behalf, only to be stopped by a returning Shotzi Blackheart. But aside from that, the outcome here seems pretty straightforward and obvious. Winner and still NXT Women's Champion, it is Raquel Gonzalez. MF?
I agree. I think Raquel Gonzalez is going to win the match. I think she's going to successfully defend the title. There's really nothing more to add here. All right, so next up we have is a very unique match. Bronson Reed and MSK versus Legado del Fantasma. It's a winner-take-all six-man tag team fight where both the North American and NXT tag team titles are on the line. Champions will remain the champions. Bronson Reed will keep the North American title. MSK will keep the tag team championship. I just don't see the belts going to Legado del Fantasma. I think it'll be a great match. I think it'll be a hell of a fight. But I think the champions are going to remain the champions. Anthony, it's yours.
I'm torn. I am torn. The temptation to strap Legado del Fantasma, I think, could be too strong for the NXT crew to resist. But on the other hand, I mean, Bronson Reed just won the North American Championship fairly recently on an NXT show when he knocked off Johnny Gargano inside that steel temper cage. But in another case of WWE making its featured babyfaces look like some of the dumbest people on the planet, the NXT writers crafted a scenario in which Bronson Reed and MSK eagerly accepted a match challenge where they could lose their championships without getting pinned or made to submit. MSK, a team that has garnered a surprising amount of resistance from the audience, as lead babyfaces of the tag team division, look especially bad for accepting this challenge, given that they had already beaten two of the people who issued the challenge. Mind-boggling stuff. Anyway, the creative team likely booked this match to give Legado del Fantasma the win while protecting the babyfaces in defeat, as the Technico trio would have the out of not being the cohesive unit that Legado del Fantasma is, and that either Bronson Reed or MSK will have not taken the loss to lose their belts. Yes, it is too soon to take the North American Championship off of Bronson Reed so soon after winning the title in momentous fashion a few weeks ago over Johnny Gargano in the cage. And sure, giving up on MSK this fast is foolhardy. But like I said, the temptation to strap up LDF is too strong for the NXT, could be too strong for the NXT crew to resist. I'm going to say the champs retain, but MF, do not at all be surprised if Legado del Fantasma steals the belts.
Oh no, no doubts about that.
And also, before we move on quickly, I mean, you know, this being the NXT Takeover in your house, MF, doesn't this have the feel of another certain in your house match, a personal all-time favorite of ours from Saginaw, Michigan, if you know what I mean?
Yeah, it was the third in your house ever. It was called In Your House number 3. And yeah, it's like
In Your House Triple Threat.
Yeah, In Your House Triple Threat. And yeah, you are absolutely correct. It was Yokozuna and Owen Hart versus Shawn Michaels and Big Daddy Cool Diesel. And at the time, like you said, all the titles were on the line. The World Wrestling Federation Tag Team titles, the World Wrestling Federation title, and the Intercontinental title all were on the line in a unique stipulation that, and it wasn't winner take all. Remember that. That if Yokozuna or at the time Owen Hart, but remember Owen was a no-show, The British Bulldog jumped in last minute for the match, but it did state that if Yoko Owen pinned either Shawn Michaels or Diesel, then they would have won that respective title. So if Diesel would have taken the fall, we would have had a new World Wrestling Federation champion. If Shawn would have taken the fall, we would have had a new Intercontinental champion. But if Diesel or Shawn won, then they would have had the tag team titles in their possession.
Yeah, and I remember the way they set that up on that SummerSlam 95 post show. Jim Cornette was freaking out. They got belts of their own. Nah, nah, nah. Yeah, we all remember that.
But Gorilla Monsoon, once Gorilla made reference to, if Diesel or Shawn would lose the belts, that's when he was ecstatic.
Oh yeah. He changed his tune real quick.
Yep.
So, but anyways, it has that feel almost, even though all the titles are on the line. And the way it goes, if Legado del Fantasma win the belts, then you would have to imagine the North American title will go to Santos Escobar, and Wild and Mendoza would win the tag titles.
Yeah, you would think.
How, regardless of who scores the win.
Yeah, you would think.
I think that's how they're setting it up. So, I mean, I'm not as confident about this. I mean, the only reason why I'm going with the faces to retain is it's way too soon to dethrone Bronson Reed.
Yeah.
That's the only reason I'm going with it.
Yeah.
But if LDF wins, don't be at all surprised. Don't.
Yeah. All right, Anthony.
Oh yeah, here we go, baby.
A ladder match for the $1 million championship.
Woo-hoo.
Cameron Grimes versus LA Knight. Anthony, we've been waiting for this for a little while. Last week on NXT, we saw the belt revealed, and now it's going to be hung 15 feet high in that CWC, where a ladder is the only way to get that belt.
If nothing else, at least Triple H and the gang finally realized that no one wants to boo Cameron Grimes and transitioned him into this babyface role. They were also smart to match him up with the smooth-talking, methodical LA Knight, who is a natural foil for the dynamic North Carolinian. The ladder match stipulation feels a little unnecessary, especially considering that the previous TakeOver also had a ladder match for the Cruiserweight Championship. But this will allow Grimes to get some cool spots in before he ascends and collects the $1 million championship. A lot of heels and whatever Karrion Kross is supposed to be will probably get wins on this show, so they need to include at least one feel-good moment. Since LA Knight doesn't need the title to get over, Cameron Grimes feels like a safe choice here. So I will go with Cameron Grimes to become the new $1 million champion. And I'll tell you, I mean, those feelings of nostalgia are really gonna hit the minute that we see that belt come out. And the minute that belt gets ascended, I mean, and what a moment for, because I'm the Impact Wrestling guy here, and I saw the show that they did earlier, the Against All Odds, via the Impact Plus, and these two guys, they were former mainstays down in Impact Wrestling. We all know that. Mm-hmm. LA Knight as Eli Drake, former World Heavyweight Champion down there, and of course Cameron Grimes, who was Trevor Lee. Was a former multi-time X Division champion. So great to see these two former Impact mainstays get a big moment to shine here. But I think Cameron Grimes is going to walk out the new $1 million champion. But just like with the previous bout, don't be surprised if LA Knight were to steal it either.
Yeah. And plus on top of that, could Ted DiBiase have an influence in the end of the match too?
I'd say yes. I think I would not at all be surprised if he gets involved,
because that's going to be the wild card in this. Who does the $1 million man want to be his $1 million champion? I think that's going to be the biggest thing. That's why I think I'm going to disagree with you, Anthony, and I'm actually going to say LA Knight wins it all. I think he gets the $1 million title because of Ted DiBiase. So I think what we'll see is you're going to see a lot of sympathy for Cameron Grimes, and I think it'll be better for Grimes to get over as a babyface to be chasing and going after a guy who's got the $1 million title.
And maybe we'll see him throw another temper tantrum and just scream out DiBiase again.
He could. And he'll have a legit reason if DiBiase costs him the $1 million title. That's the only reason I will say that. All right. So main event, 5-way match for the NXT Championship. Karrion Kross, Kyle O'Reilly, Adam Cole, Johnny Gargano, and Pete Dunne. I gotta say it's Karrion Kross. I just don't see any other way where this does not go Kross's way. If Karrion Kross loses this belt, I don't know who would be the one to get it. I mean, Kyle O'Reilly would be a great story. If it's Adam Cole who gets it, oh my God, hide Michael Bullock. That's all I'm saying. Hide Michael Bullock, because Bullock will go bonkers. So that's what I'm afraid of. Johnny Gargano, I don't think he's going to get the belt. I don't think it's his time. And Pete Dunne, I think they're going to make him chase a little while longer. Right now, I think it's Kross. I think he's going to win it. Anthony, it's yours.
Yeah. Let me get this out of the way. The lead up and build to this match has stunk. The NXT creative team got things off to a bad start by scripting a number one contender's triple threat match to end in an Adam Cole-induced no contest as the pretense for this multi-man free-for-all, and then taking this ice block of a build and putting it in the microwave for 30 seconds to heat it up on the go-home episode of NXT did little to make up for it. Aside from getting as many stars as possible on the card, WWE often books these matches for two reasons. Take a title off of a wrestler without having said wrestler take a pinfall loss, or tease a babyface win only to have the rug pulled from under them to prolong the chase. Fans could see both of those plot devices employed here. While this momentum has stagnated a bit, Kyle O'Reilly seems to be earmarked to win the NXT Championship at some point, but his crowning moment will likely come in a singles match. On the other end, whether it's because WWE has soured on him or because a call-up in his future, they may consider having Karrion Kross drop the title while keeping them strong. That said, Kross and his overproduced presentation getting roasted by everyone else in the match on last week's NXT, the writers will likely reassert his dominance with a definitive win. So, winner and still the NXT champion, it's Karrion Kross. I have no qualms about this one whatsoever. I say he'll get the fall on Gargano. So, not much more to say. MF, we got another unique week of content here. How are we going to do this?
Yeah, so tomorrow night, we're going to have the recap of NXT TakeOver in your house. We'll probably do it maybe around 10 o'clock. I think that's the best way to do it. Now, as far as we go, I think we're going to do it again. No Ridiculously Raw on Monday. We'll do it on Tuesday at 10:30, as always, like we normally would do. Now, as far as Thursday goes...
Didn't you mean Wednesday?
For Wednesday, well, actually, yeah, we'll do it on Wednesday. So we'll do it on Wednesday. On Thursday, strictly sports. And yes, we will preview the NHL, the Final Four. Yeah, the Final Four in the NHL, and we'll go from there. And on Saturday, we'll do it all over again. We'll do another edition of a special edition of the Cerebral Smack Talk, where we'll be talking about AEW and Smackdown Live. So,
and we also have the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view to preview.
And we got the preview of Hell in a Cell. So we're gonna have another loaded show next week, guys. So we'll do it this way. This is just for until basically AEW goes back to Wednesdays. Then we'll go back to the normal schedule. But until then, there's nothing we can do. We're at the mercy of TNT at the moment.
Yeah.
So I kind of feel like this is kind of the best way to handle it, Florio, if you think about it.
Yeah. So we're gonna do the NXT in your house tomorrow night.
Yep.
Around 10:30 or so.
Yep.
And then from there, Wednesday it'll be Raw and NXT.
That is correct. Yep.
And then Thursday, we only have the Stanley Cup semifinal preview on the docket, unless another bomb drops.
Unless either another bomb drops or the NBA finishes their second round playoffs.
I don't know. It's going to be awfully close. We'll see.
We'll see. We'll see. They got till Thursday.
Yep, and then no show Friday, and then Saturday, just like what we did tonight. Only we preview Hell in a Cell instead.
Yes.
So there you go.
All right, guys.
And when's the Hell in a Cell recap?
Hell in a Cell recap is the next night. That's Sunday.
All right.
Like we always do. All right, guys. So we're done. So for Anthony Florio, I'm Michael Fletcher. Have a good night, everybody. We'll see you guys tomorrow for the recap of NXT in your house.